Hi everyone, welcome to day 2 of the Fertility Empowerment series. My name is Angela Noel Martin, and if you don't know me, I am an intuitive wellness coach, a licensed acupuncturist, and an herbalist. And I've created this series to help inform people who are thinking that maybe that they want to have a family at some point, or they are actively trying to conceive and they are just trying to get some additional information that will help them be more empowered. So I'm just going to wait for a couple people to hop on and also share this to a couple of my pages. So if you can just bear with me for a few seconds or so. How is everyone doing tonight? How are you feeling? If you're joining live, please feel free to say hello in the comments. And if you're joining the replay, just let me know you're watching the replay, and also let me know where you're watching from. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask at any time. Just another minute or so. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everybody for watching and joining. So as I explained earlier, this is day 2 of the Fertility Empowerment series, and I've already introduced myself. So what I would like to discuss tonight is the importance of meditation and mindfulness when you're trying to conceive. So as I've mentioned before, if you've been following me or you're just newly following me, one of the trends that I notice with fertility, and this is usually happening in the thick of the process or even in anticipation of the process happening, there's a lot of stress and anxiety that is going on. So after treating women for 10 years in my acupuncture practice, I decided that it's really important to not only help provide help with their physical bodies, but also their mental and spiritual bodies as well. So because stress is, I've seen so many people, and I'm sure you have too, who are so stressed out that it's hard to even perform your day-to-day duties or go to your job. And imagine all that pressure every single day and how that impacts your body. So just a couple of things about meditation. If you are totally new to it, a lot of people mention when I suggest it, because I suggest it to almost all of my patients, that they can't do it. They're not a good candidate. And when I ask them why, they say, well, I'm too hyper, or it's not in my personality, or I'm too, I can't sit still. And it's kind of like, same thing with yoga, right? I often recommend yoga for stress management as well, and people say, well, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. So what I tell them is that it's just like any kind of practice, whether it's playing a sport or playing the piano. Most people aren't born knowing how to do these things. Like, yes, some people are more musically inclined or athletically inclined, but most people don't come out of the womb knowing how to do many things. We have to learn and we have to practice. And meditation is like exercise or practice for the brain. So, what I'm going to do tonight is walk you through a really short meditation practice, and I'm hoping that you will all join with me. And if this is the first time you've ever meditated, it will be really short, really easy, and it shouldn't require too much. All I ask is that you find a nice place to be seated where you can be grounded and comfortable. So either you can sit on the floor on a pillow or a cushion or a blanket, or you can sit on a chair with your feet flat on the floor. And the reason why we often, if you hear people, if you've ever done a guided meditation before, you often hear people say, have your feet flat on the floor, is because there's a sense of groundedness when you're doing meditation, when your feet are planted on the floor. Same thing with sitting. Your second chakra is in the area of your lower abdomen and your sacrum, and when your sacrum or your tailbone is rooted on the floor, that also gives a sense of groundedness. So some benefits for fertility patients, or anybody that is thinking that they want to conceive, and this is for men, this is for women, this is for anybody. Meditation is appropriate for anybody. What it helps you do is just helps you monitor your stress level. It helps create an awareness of your thoughts. So oftentimes as we go about our day-to-day lives, there's this constant chatter that's going through our heads, right? And all of a sudden we reach this point where we're like, I'm so stressed out and I don't understand why, right? And the reason often is because, oh yes, it could be a stress-inducing situation. It could be your boss is driving you nuts, your kids are driving you bananas, but it's this constant chatter in the mind that is taking up space, and it's leading you down this path. And it's a survival mechanism. It shows up because it's our amygdala, it's our primal brain, the brain that leads us to run away from danger, and something that was very important to us back in the day when we were early humans, and it still is important to us in fearful or dangerous situations. But if somebody is being argumentative or is challenging us, that's not really a life or death situation, for example. So what meditation does is it helps create new pathways into the brain. It opens up, there's studies done where new neural pathways are opening up into the brain that helps you think differently. And another thing is the brain is very, what they call neuroplasticity, so it's a very bendable organ. So it is able to reshape itself, it's able to reform itself. It's absolutely amazing, and meditation plays a big part in that. So for those of you that think you're either actively trying to conceive or you want to conceive in the future, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do meditation. So going back to those folks who say, I just can't do meditation, I can't sit still. Okay, so if you try it, you give it, I usually recommend that you give any kind of new habit 21 to 30 days. Sometimes that's not even enough. Sometimes 60 to 90 days is better to really, really set it in the brain to perform a new habit. But start with 21 days or start with 30 days and keep it super, super simple. It doesn't have to be this big ordeal where you have to have a certain place. You can certainly have a certain place in the house where you devote only to meditation, and I do recommend that. But it can be something really simple, like you're with your kids and you're chopping vegetables, and you're just mindfully chopping vegetables, right? I'm chopping my vegetables, I'm preparing dinner, I'm enjoying time with my children. So it doesn't have to be anything big, which is why meditation and mindfulness is so great, because you can do it anywhere at any time. And it can be something as simple as just being mindful of your breathing. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to message me or write a message in the comments below. But I'd like to spend some time doing a really quick meditation. This is really good for people who have never done it before, and for expert meditators, right? There's the beautiful thing about meditation is that anybody can do it, right? So I'm going to have you all be seated in a comfortable seat, either on the floor, so I'm on my meditation cushion, or you can be seated in a chair, or some people, you know, might have been a really long day for you. It's totally fine if you want to lie down. So do whatever makes you feel the most comfortable. And if you decide that you want to lie down, the only thing I recommend is that you try really hard just to be mindful and not fall asleep, because falling asleep is a little bit different than meditation. But if you fall asleep, that's okay, you're getting your rest. So we're gonna get started. And also, if you ask me a question while the meditation's going on, I'm gonna be closing my eyes, so I won't be able to answer you right away. Okay, without further ado, I'm gonna have you close your eyes after you have a comfortable seat and take a really deep breath through your nose. Hold it for 1 to 2 seconds. And then breathe. Let it all go through your mouth. And do that about 5 to 8 times until you start to notice your body and your mind's just starting to settle down. Personally, I always get a little nervous with these Facebook Lives, so this meditation is also benefiting me. If you're noticing that your shoulders are climbing up to your ears, just roll them back. Take a nice deep breath in and drop them down. Imagine your shoulder blades are just kind of tracking down along your spine. And as you're breathing in and out, notice your belly, your dantian. You want your belly to sort of be comfortable, but that at the same time supporting you upright. Does that make sense? So I don't recommend slouching, because what slouching does is that it inhibits the breathing. It kind of crunches your lungs all up, you notice. So when you're really stressed out, oftentimes we're all crunched up and we're breathing, especially women do this very shallowly. So just really focus on taking these really big, expansive breaths and just letting it all go. One breath at a time. And in the next inhale, notice if there's any tension residing in your body. Is it in perhaps your head, your forehead, the back of your neck, your shoulders? Like, I always have really tense shoulders. So if you're noticing any kind of tension, just roll those shoulders out. Any tension or pain or discomfort anywhere else in the body, just on the next inhale, breathe into that tension and then breathe it out. So that should feel really, really good. And about this time, you should have had several really deep breaths in. And you might notice that you're just starting to settle. Your brain is starting to settle. And if you notice any kind of thoughts or conversations from earlier in the day or worries, just notice them. Don't fight them, but also do not follow them. Notice those thoughts and then let them go. And just spend the next few breaths or so thinking about, or should I say, noticing any kind of thinking. On the inhale, you notice the thought, the sensation. It could be the sounds outside your house, like right now I'm hearing traffic. You might hear the neighbor's dog barking or perhaps your own dog barking. Just notice those sounds, and on the exhale, just focus on letting all that go. Let it all go. And do that a few more times. That's great. And notice, check in with yourself. Notice, how are you feeling? And for some people, they find it really useful to use words or mantras. And what that does is, there's a few things that it does, but let's just keep it really easy and we'll use a word. So you can pick your word. I'm going to pick my word as peace. So on the inhale, I'm going to focus on peace, or say it to myself, peace. And on the exhale, I'm breathing out anything that no longer serves me. So any kind of stress, perhaps you just got in a fight with your spouse, or your son or your daughter, your mom, your dad, your boss. Any of those thoughts, just let it go. That's really good. Excellent. And because this is more geared toward beginners, I don't want anybody to feel that this is too much. So what we're going to do in the next few breaths, we're going to continue the breathing, really deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouth. And then when you're ready, you can start wiggling your fingers and your toes. And that signals your brain that it's slowly time to come back to reality. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. And just notice how you're feeling. How are you feeling? You can let me know in the comments. Hopefully I can see them. Right now I don't see any comments, but it could be there aren't any comments or I have the wrong setting. But just kind of, when you're done with a meditation, you want to focus on just coming back very, very slowly. Some people like to spend a few minutes journaling because sometimes certain thoughts come up that they find really important to take note of. So you might want to just journal a few words, any kind of inspiration, any feelings of love for yourself, love for others. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. and we're going to discuss another topic. And the topic is going to be diet and nutrition, one of my favorite subjects of all. So come back at 8 p.m. tomorrow, and if you can't make it, there's always the replay. And thank you so much for joining. And if you have any feedback for me, if you'd like to know more about fertility empowerment or intuitive coaching or acupuncture or essential oils or herbs, please message me. And I'm so grateful that you're here. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.